All right, let's move to our final story for tonight. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has held a mock accreditation exercise parts of the country. The commission noted that the exercise was to test the efficacy of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System, BVAS, in preparation for the coming elections on February 25th. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu added that the machines used for the mock exercise will be reconfigured in preparation for the main elections. Well, joining me now via Zoom, I have Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability, Olufemi Lawson. Welcome to the show, Mr. Olufemi Lawson. Good evening. Can you hear me? All right, so INEC will be deploying the BVAS machine for the first time in a general election, although the technology has also been deployed in off-season elections held recently. How much confidence do you have in this technology?
Well, it's a very important exercise, and the mock accreditation exercise of yesterday becomes very significant if you look at the progress we are likely to make with the use of BVAS during the general election starting from February 25. Yesterday exposed the potency of the machine and some likely, inefficiencies when we get to the general election. So it was a well thought out exercise by INEC, and kudos was given to INEC for embarking on that mock exercise, which has really created some level of confidence in the usefulness of the machine, and of course also taught INEC some of the lessons that are needed before February 25 and subsequent elections in 2023. So that mock exercise was very necessary, and INEC was recommended for embarking on it.
All right. Before I come to you again, let me have your take on this BVAS accreditation test. How would you describe the outcome of the mock accreditation in this local government?
I think it was encouraging, not just in Lagos, in all the senatorial zones all over the country, because some of us have been, having been involved in election issues and the processes, we are also monitoring across the country, across different platforms, civil society platforms. And so, I would describe it as a very, very encouraging. Of course, there was a mixed, result in terms of turnout of mock voters. While you had few voters in some accreditation centers, in some other centers you had a higher percentage of people turning out, and that was good. And it was not just about accreditation, really. There are other aspects that INEC also had to test. For instance, in places where they had about 1,500 accredited voters or registered voters, what INEC did was to move some of those voters to other PUs, polling units nearby. And that, was also, we also saw that, and we saw the success of it, because people actually got to the polling units and their names were not there, only to describe that they moved to nearby polling units, because that was what they said. So generally, it was, fair. There were two elements involved in this, particular mock exercise. In terms of voter recognition of potential voters, of course, the biometrics, the fingerprint, and then the facial recognition. In many instances where we had the failure of the fingerprints, the BVAS machine, the facial recognition came to the rescue. And in fact, that was much more potent, much more successful than even the finger recognition. So, of course, you know that in the past, it was just all about finger recognition. And so when you put your finger and it doesn't recognize it, they tell you to go and wash your finger in case it's dirty. But once that does not work, facial recognition, it just takes within seconds. So we're happy to see that in some places, or most of the places, that the turnout in terms of a timeline within which each voter was accredited for voting was fast. In some places, it was as fast as 30 seconds, others 1 minute.
All right, let me come to you again, Mr. Olufemi Lawson. How would you also describe the outcome of this mock accreditation in these local government areas?
The outcome of the mock exercise can be said to be impressive, especially when you look at the very significant, aspect of the test run, the mock exercise, as conducted by INEC. Yesterday, reports from various citizens observers revealed that that machine was able to considerably reduce cases of attempt to get accredited twice. And I think that will bring a lot of improvement in ensuring that there are no overvoting in our elections. And of course, the promptness with which accreditations were taking place between 20 to 30 seconds, a registered voter is captured by the BVAS, given the chance to proceed immediately to vote when accreditation is discovered, on the machine. So considerably, we must give it to INEC that this has brought much more improvement into our electoral system, and we do hope that Nigeria will key into this part of advancing further in the quest towards ensuring that we go into full electronic voting system in the country. The BVAS machine is a very big step that's taken a lot of controversies that are usually around the process of accreditation, getting their identities of who is holding a voter's card or not. It has put that to a very considerable rest now. And I think moving forward, Nigerians must be interested at not stopping at the efficiency of BVAS in accreditation, but also taking this step further towards ensuring that in 1-2 minutes, a citizen can vote, and such vote can be automatically recorded, and of course, it will give more credibility to our election.
All right. Finally, I want to also have your view on, so far generally, how would you rate INEC's preparation for this election? Do you think we are good to go?
INEC is prepared, and I think I want to say that INEC is about 80% prepared, judging by the number of engagements, the number of activities that the Commission has embarked upon, including yesterday's mock accreditation exercise. But I think what we should be interested more in is to encourage INEC and the federal government to ensure the security of our elections. Because when you look at cases of attack on INEC facilities, attack on politicians and all the likes that may hinder the smooth general election come February 25 and subsequent one in March 11, we should be able to advocate for more security, because everything so far recorded as success, as far as these preparations are concerned, may be thwarted if there's no adequate security for this election. So I want to say 80% so far, INEC has done well in preparing for this election. But the ultimate thing is that we must not allow insecurity to truncate all this effort and ultimately the election.
Right. Thank you very much, Executive Director, Center for Public Accountability, Olufemi Lawson, for sharing your thoughts on these topics.
It's my pleasure.
Right. Thank you as well, Chikechude, for coming on the show. We really
pleasure.
appreciate your contribution so far.